So I want to just jump straight in and hand it over to you, really, and just find out who you are and what led you to where you are today.
Oh, how long have you got? Good morning, Sarah. Thank you for having me on today. I am Ali Bagley. I'm 57 years old. I have 4 children, 6 grandchildren, 7, 8, however many grandchildren I've got. As you can tell, my brain cells are disintegrating rapidly day by day. I am many things to many people, but for the purposes of this, I'm a business impact and writers coach, an author of business support groups. I deliver courses, I mentor people, I lead games and journeys. I'm involved in a million things. In MA, which is Eliciting, Mapping and Managing Emotions, an international coaching platform that I'm the director for. So I work on that in many different roles, really. Yeah, lots and lots and lots of things that I do. My journey to get here is long and windy, because it wasn't until probably a couple of years ago that I really worked out who I was and what I wanted to do, which maybe is a bit late at 55, but I've kind of spent my whole life trying all sorts of different things. So I was pretty good in school, got a few what were called O levels at the time, that's giving my age away again, but decided not to stay on and do A levels because I didn't know what I wanted to do at that point. So I thought, right, I'm gonna enroll in the University of Life. So I went out to work, started working in London, traveling to London at 16 on a commute, scary stuff. But I did all that. Then I got married, had 2 kids, had various jobs, divorced, went into business with my new husband as a video rental retailer. Then I went to work for Weight Watchers as a coach for 6 years, which I absolutely loved. Then I went and got a proper job and worked in lettings, and then I worked as a regional facilities manager for a care company, and then I really got into project management. I really fancied that kind of thing. I'm very much an organizer. Mm-hmm. I like planning, I like putting things together, I like creating. Project management seemed the way to go. So I restarted my career really in my 40s as a project management assistant. Got a degree in business when I was 44, business and financial management. So I went back to uni full time with kids at home, and then worked my way up through project management into proposal management, which is all about writing. I love to write. It's probably one of my top skills, top 2 or 3 skills is creating a story in the written word. And when you are preparing proposals to win contracts and tenders at work, then that is storytelling. It really is storytelling. It is craft work. So loved that, enjoyed that. And then COVID hit everybody in lots of different ways. I loved the work I was doing. I absolutely hated the corporate politics, hierarchy, culture. It just drove me mad. I was very rapidly realizing that people were treating me like a dinosaur. And I'm not that old. And it seemed to be a culture of promoting youth over experience. And I couldn't cope with that particularly. So my boss, who is younger than my youngest child, see what I mean? First of all, put me on furlough. Lovely. We never did get on well, but that was great. I had 2 or 3 months just lolling about, being paid for it. And then she rang out of the blue and said, of the 4 of you who were proposal managers, we're making 2 redundant. And I went, okay, is there any enhancement if I go voluntarily? And the HR woman told me what the enhancement was. And I said, thank you very much, I'm off. I'm going. You know, you can choose between the other 3 because I've had enough. And I'd been thinking in that furlough time, what can I do? What do I love? And I'd look back over all the jobs that I'd done, and I realized the thing that I probably loved the most was when I was a weight loss coach, because I was transforming people's lives on a daily basis, making a real difference. And that was so satisfying for me. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to look at coaching in the modern world and what that's all about. So I took my redundancy. Thankfully, it gave me enough money, because I'd been there 12 years, to keep me for a year. Mm-hmm. I'd got a year to set my business. As we speak, that was 13 months ago.
Wow.
And I still have some of that money left. But so I'm doing okay. So I took the redundancy, looked around for good training. When I do anything, I have to do it well. I feel that I need the certification and the qualification behind me in order to sell myself, but also to provide most importantly, to provide the best service I can to the people that I'm helping. So I did 2. Actually, I invested about £5,000 in my training and did 2 courses. One with a guy called Eric Bonsusson, who is a Frenchman living in Canada, who now has his own coaching academy, but then he was coaching for another academy. Brilliant training, really enjoyed that, but it was all webinar based. There wasn't any real interaction. So I thought, well, I would like to find a training that allows me to practice and work with people more. So then I found Speak Up, discovered the amazing Ralph Watson, signed up for that, a very intense course, but with an absolute genius of a trainer in Ralph. What I loved about Speak Up was that the support and the relationships in the community continues on to this day. So I did that almost 12 months ago, and still am very involved in that community and the people there. And so that was my journey to get to being a coach. And I came out of my coaching practice and training with my shiny certificates thinking, I'll let everybody know now that I'm a coach. And then they'll all come and say, please work with me, please help me, hire me. And that didn't happen.
Yeah. I just want to, if you don't mind me just capturing a couple of things, listening.
Okay, yes, sorry, I tend to take off.
No, and that's what I want this about. I want a curious coach to be all about you, the person the guest that I invite on. And one thing that's really inspiring me, and you mentioned it very early on in what you've just said, is, you know, that at your age, you were like, oh my goodness, I'm going into a new job and a new career. And it's interesting. I've worked with various men and women who, again, are like, can I take a career change as an older man or an older woman? And I think you are living proof that even though it might be terrifying at the end of this, what you were just saying, you know, got new qualifications and I'm going to take on a new career, but that's only the start of the journey. It's truly inspiring to see that you went for it and you took that. Doesn't matter how old I am, and actually in the grand scheme of it, you're not old at all. And I think that's our weird perception with age, right? But we're also up against what the corporate world or the society tells us is young and old.
Exactly.
So thank you for sharing that, because I'm sitting there going, oh yeah, that's really inspiring.
That's okay. The thing as well is, I mean, the reason I feel old is because when I took that redundancy, I had been at work for 39 years.
Wow. Yeah.
So I had 39 years of experience. So that is a lot of experience, but also quite a scary time to change direction. And if I'm honest, if it hadn't been for COVID, I would have probably looked for another proposal manager role with another company and not made that leap, because I didn't have the confidence I've got now. wasn't really, I'd just taken on a mortgage. I'm the sole breadwinner in the family, all of that kind of stuff. The redundancy, A, forced me to make the choice, which was a blessing. And B, gave me the money to enable me to do it. And not everybody is that lucky. I got really lucky being made redundant.
Yeah, and I think there's pros and cons, and I suppose this is where it comes into my next question really for you. As you said, you know, you've qualified as a coach, you've taken this step, some risks, again, being the main breadwinner and, you know, the mortgage and everything. You've got your brand new shiny certificate. With that, because the crowds don't come in as much as we may believe they do, it's hard work, and that's me talking coach to coach there, and businesswoman. What would you say in that then has been your greatest barriers and your greatest successes of taking this new journey? I'll hand that on over to you.
The greatest barriers, I think, are not, first of all, not really knowing what type of coach I was going to be. So I found out pretty quickly I needed to sort that out. Not understanding how social media works, understanding this modern world online, all of that kind of stuff was a mystery to me, and I had to learn it very, very quickly. And thank goodness I'm a pretty fast learner. So those were kind of the main barriers. I didn't have a lack of confidence or a lack of belief, thankfully, because I just knew that this was the right thing for me and that I had what counted and I could do it. And the key thing that's really worked for me, and that I would recommend to anybody starting out on a journey as a new business person, a business owner, is networking. Build those relationships, make those connections, discover other people who do what you do, and see how together those two minds can be three, and that kind of stuff. That's been the greatest success for me, is the networking and the collaboration. I'll give you an example. I started out very quickly thinking about what books I could write. I thought, if I write some books, then I'll get known in the marketplace. So I wrote the Coaches Resource Directory, which Ralph Watson gave me permission to do, which basically captured everything that we'd learned in the training, but in a little book that people could literally open, look at the index, see the technique, what it was for and what page it was on, so that when you're coaching as a new coach, it would remind you what you could do. So I wrote that one, and because I wasn't sure what my niche was, I started trying to work it out and developed a way of doing that. So I wrote the book Nailing Your Niche in order to help everyone else do that in the beginning. And of course, I wanted to publicize those books. I wanted to sell them. I wanted to get visibility for myself. So I joined every networking group going. I went on free training days that allowed people to network in breakout rooms, so that, yes, I could learn new stuff, but I could also mention my books. And in one of those trainings, in a breakout room, I met Marco Bertagni, who is the owner, founder, visionary of MA, Eliciting, Mapping and Managing Emotions. And he has developed this methodology for self-awareness and personal and professional growth through geo-emotional mapping, which you know all about, but it's a big subject and people need to come along and learn it because it's amazing. And we literally chatted for 10 minutes and both instantly realized that we had something to offer each other in terms of growing our individual businesses. So as a result of that, we set up, connected on LinkedIn, connected on Facebook, set up a call, had a really long chat. You know how sometimes you just meet somebody and you feel like you've known them all your life?
Yeah.
And we've never even met yet. And we've been working together now for like 10 months. It's crackers. And he could see that I could help him with the business side of his business, the business side of MA. So up until that point, it had been a philosophy. It was a group with 60 odd people in it who were all creatives and from all walks of life, all different countries. And I worked with him to create a business strategy for MA, different ideas of how we could make it work as a business, formalize everything. And I've been working on that now for, as I say, about 10 months, and it's grown to 80 people now. And we deliver courses and games and counselling and journeys and all sorts of stuff across the world, which is amazing. It's a fantastic methodology. You yourself are a geographer of emotions.
I am, and it is just amazing, and I can't agree more with the power of networking, and that's how we met, and that's what's led us to here today. And I think, again, I just pull up on, as I'm listening to you speak, the word passion just keeps coming up, and you've been on this journey of life of exploring different things, and I suppose breaking away from a norm of we're in school, then we have to go to this step of college, then we have to go to university, and we have to define exactly what we want to do. And you broke away from that very early on. But entwined in all of that, you're at a place where not only have you taken these risks about becoming a coach and serving people because you know you like working with others, you've intertwined your passion for writing because you've written your books, but you've also integrated through meeting Marco and networking, I guess, and the different people you're working alongside now, the organisation and that project planning. And again, anyone listening, I'm sitting there going, it just shows that if you follow your passions, it does all, and it can all integrate and come together. And it doesn't matter who you are, what time of period in your life you are, if you believe in it, and you've said this, you will just keep going, even if the fear of finance and societal stresses are trying to freak you out, so to say. Actually, if your passions are strong enough, you know it will work out in the way that it should.
It will, and it does in the strangest ways. So I started working with Marco on MA, and one of the other geographers came to me and said, I love what you're doing. I run a company here in Italy. Could you come and write some marketing content for me? So I got that contract there, which is amazing. And it's an amazing company. It's called GT Design, and they design contemporary rugs. And these are beautiful, quality, high end. You know, it's not IKEA. So I work with them. And then as well, collaborating with the people that I met in Speak Up, meeting people that they've met, you know, all that kind of stuff. We've done the workplace wellness event. We did earlier than that. We did something else at the end of last year. Oh, it was like a COVID survival week, where we gave people hints and tips for a week on how to survive it. You know, I talked about having cabin fever and getting over being made redundant, and how you can turn that into a positive and all that kind of stuff. And I love doing those free things where you're giving people information that helps them. Yes, I'm getting known through doing it, of course. And that's all good. But it's amazing how through helping others, you build your business, because they see you, they know you, they begin to trust you, they come along, get to know you. I joined another networking group, and there is a lady from there now who has written an amazing book called Burnout to Bold, which is coming out in October. And she's hired me to edit all of that and get it published for her, because I also have a publishing arm called Albert Publishing, where I help people to develop their book from concept right the way through to getting it published on Amazon. So I'm doing those kind of things as well. All of Marco's 3 books I've done the same for and have published on Amazon. I think my 7th book is coming out on the 1st of September, which is Love Coaching, Hate Business. I love business. I'm good at business. I know what I'm doing. My co-author and I, Susan Lane, she and I are both experienced qualified project managers, risk management backgrounds, all that kind of stuff. And we've come together and we've written the book that we always wanted when we started, which talks about how to set up the foundation for your business when you're a coach. Because you come out, like I say, with those shiny certificates, you expect clients to come your way. You forget that you're running a business. You need to put so many things in place. And when that all works smoothly and beautifully in the background, you have all your time free to coach, to deliver courses, to write your books, to develop and be creative and earn money. Yeah, which is what you want the time to do.
And I think it's really interesting, isn't it? And I, again, only reflecting on my journey, it's very easy for us to go onto the likes of, anyone, go onto social media and define that success is instant. And you've touched base there. We go through this amazing training that leaves us so inspired and buzzing to serve people because we know the power of what we do. And I think this relates to any business person, because you go into setting your own business up because you've got a passion of what you're doing. Well, I hope you have a passion of what you're doing.
Well, if you don't, it'll fail.
But, a lot of what comes up is no one shares the hard graft that happens behind the scenes before it becomes this shiny product. And even when it appears to be this shiny product, there's so much work that's happening behind the scenes. So a book like you're discussing, it brings it back to reality. You can love business and you can love coaching or whatever you're choosing to go into, but let's be realistic. Coaching, unless you, I have a lot of opinions around that we're sadly in a world that everything is expected to be free and gifted, and there's a power in that. There is a power in that. Sadly, the world doesn't match that belief at this moment in time. But I suppose where I'm going is we have to love business, and people have to see it doesn't have to cost a lot of money, but people have to see to make the world go round and be successful.
Yeah. I don't think you need to love business. I think, and Ralph Watson told me this, the best way to learn is from people who have made the mistakes already.
Yeah.
So if you are a coach and you love being a coach, then this book is about the business side, because the business side is the stuff that you're not so keen on. There is a graft that when you think, I've got to get up in the morning and sort out all my receipts and my budget, you're going, I love doing stuff like that. But this is a book that shows you how to do it simply and easily, and shows you kind of the minimum you have to do to make sure everything's working well. It doesn't overcomplicate. It's not in stupid language. There are 11 steps that begin with, first of all, your mindset. Have you got the entrepreneur mindset? Are you aware that there's going to be failures? Are you aware that it's going to be struggles? It's hard. It's long hours. It's not always happy. We start with that, and then we move through the whole journey of everything you need, right up to the marketing stuff. We have a guest writer, Jill Fountain, who's written a chapter on websites, whether or not you should have one, and why they work and how they work, and all that stuff that you need to know. Right up to launch, all those steps up to launch. And then we give you a lot more tips and help on what happens next. After that.
My additional question to you, Ali, as you're talking about all of this, what is it that draws you into writing books like this? As you're talking, I'm super curious, because I've found like this new love for writing, but my writing style isn't about business and supporting people that way. I'm very much share my experiences to inspire, and I suppose what you're doing is the same, but oh my goodness, if I gave advice on business, I know I'm living it, but no one needs the structure that goes on in my brain. But what is it that draws you to writing books like this?
What draws me to writing Love Coaching, Hate Business, Nailing Your Niche, the Coach's Resource Directory, is I think about what do I need? What didn't I have? What would work for me? How can I help other people who are coming up, sort of not behind me, that sounds wrong, but who started after me, who were about to spend all this time and all this money making all of these mistakes? Is there something that I can pull together for those people in order to make their journey easier?
Yeah.
That's what it is. It is exactly about helping people. It is, but it's also about making it simple, non-jargony. Come on, this is real life. Yes, I love coaching. I love delivering my courses. I love collaborating on writing books. I love all the things that I do. I want to make a living doing it, and I want to make a decent living doing it. And you have to have so much in place in order to do that. It's taken me a year to get to a point where I am now earning a living that covers my bills and gives me a lifestyle, which is wonderful, absolutely wonderful. I would have got there a lot sooner if I had had the books that I've written based on the mistakes that I made that you can now learn from in order to not make the same mistakes yourself.
Love that, and very, very powerful. And I think for me, listening to you there, it is that mistakes are powerful and what helps you grow. And as much as we take on new journeys and go, no, we're not going to fail, and that fear of failure, the strongest message from people who you aspire to be will always say, the more you fail, the greater you will become. And just, it's ironic how we provide something that actually a past self of us needed at the time. And I suppose that's the journey of coaching as well, and the service we provide. It's, what did I need at a younger age or at a certain point in my life? Right, I'm going to serve that because I've come through it, and it's self-exploratory, isn't it? And then
exactly. In my coaching, it's different because I am working with people to help them to find their own answers.
Yeah.
I'm a facilitator of change and transformation in people by asking the right questions in the right way at the right time to encourage them to find their own solutions, because finding your own solutions is the most powerful. Making mistakes does help you to grow. What I do with my books is help you from wasting time and money on making those silly mistakes that you don't need to make, because you don't really necessarily learn from them. They just make life really difficult. So that's the kind of stuff that I cover and that I do in my books. I'm going to write another one soon on overcoming procrastination, called Stop Clucking and Lay the Damn Egg, because it's about, getting to grips and doing it. But, it's difficult when you're in the moment. I'm going to write a book on the methodology of emotional mapping to help people, so that that's out there and people can use it.
Yeah, there's a lot out there that you kind of sit there and go, there's so much out there telling me the same thing. But one thing I've realised is, give me a line of people who sell the same subject. I won't relate to each of them. And then you narrow it down. Okay, these are the ones I'm relating to, but the way they present it, I relate to more. And there's so much room in this world to do things the way you choose, because it's uniqueness, isn't it? And
absolutely. And I've never ever once thought, I've got competition. I've never ever thought there are other people out there doing it as well. There might be other people better than me or anything else. I know what I'm good at. I know what I'm passionate about. I am very authentically me, because I have learned through life that being anything else is a waste of time. If you relate to me, if you want to come and work with me, wonderful. Let's do some work. Let's solve your problem. Let's move you forward. If you don't like me, if you don't relate to me, there is somebody else out there who you will and who can help you. And I'm really happy with that, because I can't serve everybody. I haven't got enough time.
No, And that's another big rule, isn't it? You can't take on the world, and I've had to learn that. I want to have an impact on the whole world, but you can't do it alone. And it's okay to say, oh, thank you, it's a privilege that you've come to me and you would like to work with me. However, my skill set won't serve you as powerfully as this person. And that's where networking comes in again, right? And you start realizing this beautiful world of support that's out there and advice.
I've probably recommended on more people than I've taken on, because there is no point trying to help somebody that you can't help. People will do it for money. I can't do that. If I don't believe that I can do a good job for you, then I'm not going to. But I won't just leave you hanging. Yeah. Because I have a massive network and can send you on. That's
amazing, and thank you again for sharing that. And to the listeners, if you could give, and you've been on this incredible life journey, and you sit here with a big smile, full of passion now, what advice or guidance, suggestions would you give them if they're sitting there going, oh my goodness, I have no clue who I am, I've got all these amazing ideas? What advice would you give them?
Oh gosh, there's all sorts of things that you can do. If you don't know what you want to do in life, if you don't know what you're good at, I would always suggest that you start writing your lists of what do I like, what don't I like, what do I find difficult, what do I find easy, what are my dreams, what are my passions. And there is a miracle question that I ask most of my clients, which is, if you go to sleep tonight and then you wake up tomorrow morning, and during the night everything that you wanted in life has happened, what does this morning look like? How does it feel? How does it taste? What do you hear? What do you see? Where are you? Who are you with? And it's a kind of a long visualization methodology, and you can do it for yourself. Just sit and think, what does my perfect day look like? If I had everything I ever wanted, what kind of life would I be living? And write down what you think, what you feel, what you hear, what you see. Write it down. And from that should help you to glean what's important to you in life. And when you work out what's important to you in life, you can then work out what you need to do to achieve it and use it as your goal to work forward towards. That's probably the best advice I can give. Doing it through emotional mapping is the most powerful way I've ever seen it done. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, because it's about going back through the pivotal moments in your life so far that show you how you survived, the barriers you overcame, what you loved, what you didn't love, what worked for you in life, what doesn't work for you in life. But just that simple exercise of thinking about what you really want your life to look like will tell you a lot about the kind of person you are and what you want to achieve.
Wow, what great advice. Thank you so much for your time and coming on to
You're welcome.
Coach, because it's relatable and real, and people will be able to listen and, well, you hope, go, oh, I relate to that moment, and that's where I'm at. So I appreciate you and your story, and thank you very, very much.
You're welcome. It's lovely to talk to you and all of your listeners. And as you say, there'll be links so you can get in touch with me if you do want to talk to me about anything. No obligation, chatty stuff.
Exactly, and there will be links to your books and all of that, and I will make sure I put that all in the comment boxes below so people can access that. Thank you very much, Ali.